John Kerry announced with essentially the John Kerry equivalent of China that we have come to some kind of plan or agreement, if you will, with China to address climate change, global warming, emissions, all of that.
John Kerry says we've got this strong statement of where we want to go, but then speaking about this upcoming summit, the Chinese vice foreign minister, while Kerry is still in China, says that China's unlikely to make any new pledges at the upcoming summit. So we've got a strong path forward from these talks, but the big summit that the U.S. is trying to take leadership on is not going to. China's already saying, man, we're not planning on making any new commitments here.
No new commitments. I think they said it was like 2050. There's some commitments to being less, and they even said in the next, they're actually not at peak. They're not quite peaking at how much emissions they're putting out right now. They're like, we're going to peak in a couple of years, and then we're going to start bringing it back. We're going to live up to this deal. We're going to put these regulations on the American people. China, we hope you do better. We're going to, hopefully you're going to agree to it, but really already you're saying you're not. So we're going to have the American people, and you guys were telling me earlier about the farming situation, which is why a lot of our food is imported from overseas, some of it from China specifically. If we go to the grocery store, you'd probably be surprised how much is coming not from farmers in America. A lot of it is not. And there's reasons why, and a lot of that is regulation issues that are coming from our own government. It's putting a stranglehold on our own people, but then it benefits other countries.
The Biden administration seems to be going under the policy, instead of, like Ronald Reagan used to say, peace through strength. I think their policy is speak loudly and carry a twig. Which
is obviously the reference to speak strongly, loudly, and carry a big stick.
Yeah.
But it's because they're saying we're putting out strong statements. You know, he's going to China to have these meetings, John Kerry is. But then you see the way that China always comes out ahead on these deals, is that it's as if it wasn't even a negotiation. And half the time, we know that when China enters a deal, they're not living up to their end of the bargain. To me, this looks like the failure of the Iran nuclear deal that happened under the Obama administration, where they agreed to all these things, but we knew that they were violating it. The UN inspector said they were violating it.
We're doing business with countries that, on the other hand, are censoring, are keeping the public unaware of what's happening outside of their own walls, and then beyond that, have issues with global genocide.
How serious is the Biden administration, which will accept Mike Pompeo's designation that the atrocities against the Uyghurs are genocide? The Biden administration has accepted that, and moving forward, that they put some weak sanctions against some certain individuals and entities in China because of this. So if they take that seriously, how serious can they then take a climate change accord that John Kerry is trying to work out? Where there's a dichotomy here that at some point the administration is going to have to either admit they don't care about the atrocities, the genocide, the human rights abuses, the theft of intellectual property, the devaluation of currency, all of these things that are real serious issues. They're going to have an answer for.
Climate has to stand alone. You know, you can't have those disagreements, say, well, because of that, I'm not going to do anything about climate, because you're just killing yourself.
When you're talking about China, who already immediately after said, we don't really think anything's going to change. Look, let's just be honest. I mean, we're going to say okay to this, but like, we don't see any drastic action coming out of this agreement here. We're just saying, hey, we're happy to play nice, kinda. And then on the other hand, you have the Biden administration as well confirming and commenting on the fact that China is committing genocide of its people, of its Muslim population. Well, we're talking a little bit out of two sides here.
You have John Kerry saying you have to separate climate from everything else. But then last week, Secretary of State Blinken, he called on governments around the world, including the United States, to take concrete actions to ensure that no companies are providing China with products or services that facilitate its repression of the Uyghur population.
While we're talking about regulations, why are we not also putting forth regulations? We've dealt with this with a lot of situations where we say, fine, you want some regulations, you want to work together on climate? Okay, you do this, you got to quit the genocide here before we continue the business. How about that? How about that? How about no more genocide just based on your religious beliefs? Is that a good line item